What's up and welcome back? I'm John Stark, MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today I'm taking a look at The Walking Dead, Dead City, Season 2, Episode 6. I'm still blind. This show still doesn't have audio description, so click like and subscribe because I'm still here, still doing the hard work, still putting out these recaps. Yeah, I had to look some stuff up again. I'm just always honest about that. The thing was, I actually was pretty sure I followed everything, but then I had to have clarity in a lot of it. Like in a couple places, I had to have clarity. So there wasn't really anything where I was like, oh, like last episode, I mentioned, either way, this is a recap, so like spoilers, and also spoilers for previous episodes. I didn't know that Jenny had been bit last episode at all. Like, that wasn't clued in. It's still not clued in. Like, as a blind person, I could be still watching this show on my own without doing any research, without audio description. I would not know because she never fucking talks. Nobody's found out yet. So, yeah, this is the squad, team, uh, whatever, is they've been captured by Bruegel. Well, not really captured because he's like, well, you guys are always free to go, whatever. You know, we're friends here. He actually wants to be a part of. Everybody's calling him Curly online. I don't know why. We're gonna call him Curly. Even the recap I saw, I'd heard it somewhere else, and I was like, okay, Curly. So they I guess this dude's hair is really curly, something that we did not get an audio description that doesn't exist. So he uh, negotiates with Bruegel to, initially because Bruegel wants to join, but he also wants to, because he says that he can deliver the methane, he can team up with them, he's got people, and he's like, I want to be colonized, colonize me. Sounds like your stuff is what, but we got to take out, Negan and the Croad first, and I can help you do that. Maggie's reluctant to do it because she's like, I saw him, with them, and he was on their side, and now he's on our side, and it just means he can't be trusted. And she told me she has a point. He just plays whatever side is winning. But still, this guy, the Bruegel, doesn't kill them or anything. I mean, they're actually doing pretty fine until a fucking bear comes in. I think that was what attacked. We heard somebody get bit at the beginning, and then there's another girl, like random female character that like wanders in, and she's like been bitten by something, and there's a hint that they know that there might have been something else out there. And they're like, is it that? And he's like, no, it's just a walker. Bruegel's like, no, it's just a walker. It's just a regular walker. And he has to put the woman down out of her misery. So, later on, we find this bear just wandering the hallways of the Met, which is where Bruegel is posted up. And it finds Maggie and chases Maggie down. And Herschel manages to kill it with like a throwing knife or something, and at the last minute before it eats Maggie's face, then Herschel and Maggie have this conversation. They argue where Maggie still thinks that Herschel is under Dama's spell, which is pointless because Dama's dead. And she also has this conversation with Jenny about, checking on Jenny, who hasn't turned yet and is still hiding her wounds and being super quiet. And Maggie tries to say what it's been like for her, wanting to have vengeance on Negan and all of the things that she's thought about. I thought it was a nice moment for Lauren Cohen. Her son I hate Herschel in the show. Like, he like never has a good moment. He's obnoxious. He's been obnoxious since day one. Like, his character this whole time has been a whiny little bitch. For the Walking Dead franchise, characters like his don't live. Like, he doesn't live normally. I don't know why is he still here because he's baby Glenn? Like, he's a character that by now would have either changed, had character development, or would have died. He's just not a character that survives very long with this whiny attitude. Everybody else who's had his attitude ends up getting killed off. So he yeah. So he wanders off to find Dama, and Maggie doesn't know, where he went and has to find him. And meanwhile, Curly has a conversation with Bruegel and he's like, well, I listened to Maggie and yeah, we can't really trust you. And he's like, well, that's fine. But he found Narvez, I guess, before she died. And Narvez, I guess while she was dying, tried to recruit him, which doesn't make any sense. It gets kind of dumb. Like he's like, yeah, she's a fighter. She's been like 15 times. She's sitting there trying to like recruit me. She's telling me all about you and how nobody knew that you hadn't killed Negan. And I was like, that's a lot of stuff for somebody who's just been bitten by a bunch of zombies. Like that's the kind of conversation that Narvez wants to have. Come on, writers. Come on now. So I kind of hated this scene. I didn't like this episode that much. I thought it was kind of dumb. So that was a stupid way to explain how Bruegel gets information. It would have made way more sense for him to like explain it in another way. Like literally any other way. A different soldier lived. You know what I'm saying? Like there had to be other people. So somebody else. So gave him up. I don't know, but that was so stupid. And so he basically is blackmailed because, Brugel's like, your people are coming here either way. So they can either come here and find out that Negan's alive, or they can come here and find out that Negan's dead. You choose. He's playing bridge, and he's like, you're playing this game whether you want to or not. You just don't know it. And Curly kind of realizes that's true, because if they come here and they realize Negan's alive and he didn't kill him, then his whole hero status and his rank and everything is going to be jeopardized. So Maggie eventually runs into Negan while searching for Herschel. I'll get to Negan's story and how it all pans out. And Negan's like, he has a whole thing, but basically he tells Maggie that he thinks Herschel went to the theater, and he tells her where the theater is, like literally address, like street address. It's like that's where he would have gone if he's going after Dama. And then Negan gets a gun pointed at him by Jenny, who then passes out from injuries. So Negan is very confused, because it's not like Jenny had like a great speech prepared for him at the end. She just kind of points a gun at him, and then there's some silence while they stare at each other, and she collapses. So we'll see how that plays out in the next episode. Meanwhile, in Negan's storyline, we open with Croat is trying to explain what happened with Dama, and there was nothing he could have done to save her, blah, 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 that kind of bullshit. So Negan's like, well, what happens with me? And Croat's like, oh, you held up your end of the bargain more than... And they're great, like, they're friends again, all that kind of stuff. And the Croat's like offering to bring him back to Croatia with him to live with their family. And because Negan's like, you don't have to stay here. You could go anywhere. You go anywhere you want. Where would you go? The Croat's like, Croatia. I'll go to the land of Croatia. You should come with me, Negan. You would love it there. I do a great Croat voice. You'll see the lake, and you'll just be blown by its beauty. Bring the family. We go together. We're brothers. Negan doesn't want to go to Croatia, obviously. And what happens is that the writers just kind of give up, and they have the Croat just magically put things together of his own accord. He's like, wait a minute, you were the one who told me about you killed the rat, you, it was you. So the scene takes a ridiculous turn because it needs Croat to realize that Negan was the one who pushed him in the right direction. But there wasn't anything that Negan told Croat that wasn't true. Dama did treat him like shit. Negan just leaned into it. So this scene is profoundly stupid because like their Croat is in the middle of having this like brotherly reunion with Negan and wanting to like spend the rest of his life with Negan, and then all of a sudden he's just like, wait a minute, it was you. Oh god, I hate that scenes. Um but anyway, so they fight, but Negan easily overtakes the Croat and then becomes the leader of the Brazzi and exiles Croat and tells him never to return. So Negan's now in charge of everything, of all these people. And later on, he has a conversation with the historian who it's a great scene for Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I don't remember the whole speech, but his speech was about being a savior. And he's like, maybe the people, maybe what they really needed saving from was me. Yeah, he's come a long way. I fucking love Jeffrey Dean Morgan. So great moment for him. The historian was just there. He gets freed. I mean, I don't know if the historian leaves, but Negan's like, you don't need to be here anymore. Go with God. Bye. Bye, Felicia. So then Negan gets word that his family has arrived. And he'd been toying with the idea of what to do with them. Like, does he leave with them? Does he send them away? Are they safer with him, without him? Are they ever going to be safe? And so without ever even seeing them, I guess we're not going to get a cameo from Annie or see how Joseph has grown up. Negan just sends them away. That doesn't mean that they've left, because it all could be thwarted and the Croat could have gone and gotten them and used them as hostages. I realize that. So I just don't know what's ahead of us. But he does kind of just send one of the Barazzi back, and he's like, well, turn them around and send them back to Tennessee. He, I mean, he probably shouldn't know. Nobody should probably know where they go. That's kind of the point, is that they needed to be able to go somewhere like where they couldn't be found so that people couldn't track them down again. Whatever, send them back so that they can be found again and then go on this long ass journey. It's not like they have cars. You guys how long it takes somebody in this day and age to go from Tennessee to New York City? Because we're this deep in the apocalypse. Gasoline is just not. I know we've got Daryl is riding around on a motorcycle like we're still making petroleum and getting gas out of it, but the reality is that's very unlikely this deep that there would still be a lot of gas that remains, and we're not exactly trying to get more. So yeah, then Negan's final thing is with Maggie and then Jenny. So that's kind of where his trajectory goes, and we'll see what happens in the next episode. I needed an audio description for a lot, especially the Jenny stuff, because she doesn't talk. But I basically kind of knew what happened. I could figure out that Negan ran into Jenny. There was just like this long silence, and anytime there's like long silence, I'm just kind of assuming it's Jenny now. Oh, this is a Jenny scene. Strong but silent type. So yeah, this episode didn't really work for me. I'm sorry, Walking Dead fam. People found information way too easily. They just kind of wrote themselves into situations and then just like magic wanded their way out of them. Like the Croat just having his own revelation, even though he doesn't even need to have the revelation. Like, why does the story become more interesting without him? Like, literally, Negan's like, you could go to Croatia. I mean, now we've gotten him out of Dead City. They just needed him to have a fight, but then he doesn't need to have the whole Brotherhood talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, rewrite the whole thing. Like, he could have write him as a smarter character so that after he kills Dama, he goes back to Negan and he's like, "You did this," you know? That makes more sense. But him having this whole thing about come to Croatia with me. No. So I'm not grading the episode because it's unwatchable due to lack of audio description, but it would not be a high grade this week. After actually a pretty kick-ass episode last week, which would have been great with audio description to have all of those brutal deaths in succession after one after another. Kim Coates is still intriguing me because this is not a role that I would have picked him for, but he seems to be a fun Bruegel. And I mentioned this in another one of my recaps. I always just think of Sons of Anarchy when I think of him. So this feels like not his character from Sons of Anarchy at all. And that's what I love about it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I will see you guys on the other side.